As many of you know, the Code of Conduct for Building Surveyors will be implemented on the 1st of January 2021. And to support this implementation, the VBA is delivering an education and training program. So on that note, I'd like to introduce Marcus Collard, VBA's Municipal Building Surveyors Delegate and a registered building surveyor himself. And he's going to be talking about, he's going to be introducing the updated enforcement templates as part of the code. So we'll just go straight into it, Marcus. So the first question for you is what is the role of the building surveyor in ensuring compliance?
Well, look, the role of the building surveyor is very important. So building surveyors and the VBA have enforcement powers under the Act. So the RBS plays a vital role in any given project to oversee works for compliance with the Act, the regulations and the NCC, as well as the building permit. Enforcement is a very important function to intercept any non-compliances for improved long-term outcomes. It also presents an opportunity to educate practitioners and owners to facilitate conversations that can lead to positive changes in behaviour. In addition to statutory requirements, the Code of Conduct for Building Surveyors, which will come into effect on the 1st of January 2021, requires that building surveyors take action where non-compliances are identified. So given the importance of enforcement to mitigate risk and prevent harm, the VBA will prioritise the investigation of inappropriate conduct in accordance with its compliance and enforcement policy. So now's the time to invest in making sure you get enforcement right and knowing when to act and what tools are available and suitable to the circumstances. Referring enforcement to the VBA demonstrates that you are acting in a competent manner and using the tools available to you to make building work safe and compliant. Enforcement is one of the regulatory tools available to you to secure compliance and mitigate risk. It should not be considered as a negative. It's an appropriate tool to meet your statutory obligations. It mitigates risk both to you as practitioners, to the project and to the community by ensuring minimum standards are upheld. The updated templates are designed to help you do your job.
So why is it important to get enforcement right?
Well, if notices and orders and directions are unenforceable, the VBA can't pursue further action, which means the non-compliance may remain. This presents a high risk to building work, practitioners, consumers and the public. This is because the RBS still has a role to play in monitoring the progress of compliance and enforcement action, even after a referral to the VBA. If enforcement is complied with after a referral, then the RBS can cancel the enforcement action and advise the VBA. However, if enforcement is not complied with, the process either needs to recommence or be escalated to the next available enforcement instrument. All of this takes time and can leave non-compliance and safety issues exposed and untreated on site. It also means the VBA can't help building surveyors hold owners and practitioners to account for non-compliances, uphold the intent of the regulations and help change behaviours. For example, making builders who consistently don't comply with directions accountable. A private building surveyor should also consider if other enforcement needs to be issued that they cannot issue. This may include a circumstance where an emergency order may be required. In this instance, the RBS should contact the municipal building surveyor. In consultation with the municipal building surveyor, an appropriate resolution to the issue can be developed. Also, if another relevant building surveyor has been appointed for other building work on the site, they may be the appropriate person to issue enforcement for that issue. Working together, building surveyors can achieve an appropriate outcome.
So just turning our attention to new templates, why were the templates updated?
Well, the VBA receives referred enforcement in the form of directions to fix and building orders from private building surveyors that aren't enforceable. We've heard from building surveyors that they are concerned about the lack of enforcement by the VBA to referred notices and directions. However, in the 2019-2020 financial year, the VBA received almost 200 referrals of enforcement that were not complied with. 64% of these were found to be unenforceable. Some of the common compliances we observe include that the directions in the order do not match the matter which was outlined within the building notice, incorrect legislation clauses nominated in the instruments, using the enforcement to request documentation, and not specifying the actual work that needs to be carried out, for example, only noting the non-compliance observed. If they are unenforceable, we cannot pursue further action, which means the non-compliance remains and the process has to start again, therefore leaving a high risk to building work, practitioners, consumers, and the public unresolved. In consulting industry, it was clear that updating the templates was one way that the VBA could support building surveyors to achieve improved compliance outcomes. The VBA undertook a review of the templates to improve their accessibility, usability, and accuracy, noting that some referenced outdated regulations. The result is a suite of refreshed templates that include the direction to fix building work, emergency order, building notice, building order for minor work, and building order to stop work. With the introduction of these new templates, the VBA is aiming to reduce the number of unenforceable orders and notices referred to us and help building surveyors.
What exactly have the changes been made specifically to the templates?
So the updated templates are designed to resolve some of the issues by providing an editable PDF form that are both easier to navigate and populate and comply with the prescribed information outlined in the Building Act and regulations. The new templates also include notes that offer additional information in relation to the duration, cancellation, penalties, and appeal rights of the instruments.
And what are some of the practical tips to ensure enforcement is accurate and effective?
The first thing is to keep enforcement simple and to the point. Most importantly, ask the owner to show cause why they should not comply with the approved plans. Don't ask the owner to provide an alternative solution design to justify the non-compliance in the building notice. Enforcement can only be used to require building work to be carried out to bring the work into compliance. Where a deviation from the approved plans exists, these documents should be updated and submitted to support the representations made to the building notice and may require an application for an amendment to the building permit. You can use cover letters and other correspondence to outline the process to comply to the owner, including the requirement for updated documentation and appeal rights. Cover letters can also advise owners of other options for compliance that are too difficult to put in a building notice. For example, a building notice may require the provision of sprinklers to unprotected openings. A cover letter can advise the owner of the option to engage a fire engineer to develop a performance solution to protect the openings if they wish to explore an alternative compliance pathway, leading to an amendment to the building permit.
Thanks, Marcus. So we'll just remind everyone it's vital that the building surveyors participate in these educational events. That's to better understand obligations and ensure that there's compliance with the code. So on that note, thank you to everyone for joining us today. And please continue to engage with our rollout of our education around the code.